live stream online if you want to watch that. But tell us a little bit about like how you came about this story and why you were like, right, I've got to tell this.
Okay, so I normally make documentaries for TV, and I was a journalist before I went into TV, so I like finding stories about amazing rebel women in particular. So years ago I did a documentary about Emmeline Pankhurst for the BBC, which at the time took a year to get commissioned because everybody said, no one wants to hear that story, everyone knows who she is. And we were like, there's never been a documentary about her, how can I, it's so mad. So I realised then that it was quite hard to get, stories commissioned about women doing rebellious things. Only about 25% of documentaries focus on women's stories anyway, and 13% of sports coverage is of women. So I came across this story, I read it in the local paper, in the Manchester Evening News that I used to write for, and I was like, oh my God, I had COVID actually, so I was sat in bed, and I was like, this is an amazing story, somebody must be making a film about this, gutting, like I never noticed that story. But I contacted them, and we all met up at the football museum, about 30 of the players, surviving players, and I was like, oh, is someone already doing a film? They're like, no, no one cares. No one's ever asked us about it, no one's ever wanted to do anything about it, and I was like, I'll make this film. And they all brought like trophies and scrapbooks and badges and stuff that they'd played with, and I was like, how I didn't really know anything about the ban, and I certainly didn't know that women had played during the ban. So I was like, this is a no-brainer because everyone loves football, the Lionesses, it was 2022, so everyone was loving the Lionesses. I was like, oh, easy commission, no. And all the commissioners that we spoke to were like, it's a bit niche, no one watches women's football, no one watches women over 60 that much on the telly. Could you cut down what the women are saying and have a celebrity presenter? All that kind of stuff. So in the end, we were like, we kept getting knocked back. So we were like, me and the crew who'd made other things together before, like we'll make this film anyway. So formed a company, Films Not Words, which is after the suffragette motto, having made something on Emmeline. And we just started filming, and the crew were like, we'll make the trailer, we'll make the interviews, and you just get the funding. I was like, haha, that's easy. It's not easy. So we did that, and we raised a crowdfund, and we spent a week at West Didsbury and Chorlton Football Club in their men's changing rooms, which is where all those interviews were done, that we dressed sort of like a set. So we wanted them in a football setting, not in a sort of nanas at home on the sofa. And we spent a week filming there, and from that we made a trailer which we launched our crowdfund with, and that's how we sort of eventually raised enough money to pay for the archive that's in it and the animation and whatever. But yeah, basically, once I'd met them, and they're really like, how you see them in the film, and I was just like, we've got to tell this story because it's just such an injustice, that had happened. And lots of the players were dying at the time, so the remaining players, the ones that were in our film, were like, we really want to tell this story while we're still here. So like, okay, so yeah, that's how it sort of came about, and it's just been 4 years since then, Becky, making it.